nothing's going to change unless you change. So my challenge for you today is to take one tiny baby action step towards a room that you don't think you belong in, or a table that you don't think you belong in, because the magical shit that happens on the other side is where the frickin' magic happens. Do I even belong here? Do I deserve a seat at this table? Hello, ladies. I am back. Today, I wanted to reflect on an experience I had this past weekend within a community that I've been a part of for a few years now. The community is called Dovetail. You can check it out online. Dove, like Dovetail, with Alexis Dean, like Dean, Alexis. And I've been to like 4 of Alexis's events. And what I love about her community, it's just very aligned with my values and the community that I've created, which is integrity, connection, vulnerability. And every time I go to a woman-led event where it's women only, I notice different psychological factors and conversations that are being had rather than if it is co-ed. The vulnerability is still there sometimes. Like you'll get little pockets of women talking and being a little vulnerable, but you can see that we're often a little more boundaried if it's co-ed. But in this community, this time, so it was a camp experience. So picture like a kid's camp. So I live in Canada, and in Ontario, it is very common to send your kids to camp in the summer. And in Northern Ontario, it's like cottage country. So they rented out a kids' camp. And so we were all sleeping in bunkies. It was very cold, and there were a few rugrats around, little rodents that were not my favorite part. But, it brings you right back to those moments as a child. I didn't have the privilege to going to camp. It wasn't in my family's budget. And it also just wasn't a thing that my family did. And it's fucking expensive. I sent my kids to camp, and holy shit. I'm like, guys, what this cost me for all 3 of you to go to camp, like, just know I could have paid for like a year of your post-secondary education. But anyways, I digress. So went to camp, and, it brings you back to those like younger self moments when that's a lie. I did go to Girl Guide camp, and I think I got kicked out because, okay, now I'm veering, but, I didn't get kicked out. I got in trouble because I had to do a fundraiser. This is so funny. I had to do a fundraiser. So my best friend in Girl Guides was going to meet the Queen. So she was going to England, and she was doing a fundraiser. And she was the same age as me. And all of the Girl Guides had to do a fundraiser for this trip. And I was fucking pissed that I couldn't go on this trip. Like, I don't know why I wasn't picked. Maybe it actually cost an additional fee and my parents couldn't pay for it. I have no idea. But I had to fundraise for my friend to go to England and to meet the Queen. And I was so pissed. I was like, why am I fundraising for somebody else's trip when I don't even get to go? And I remember using my voice and like making a stand about it. And literally getting in trouble by the leadership, because essentially they were saying to me like, shush, like be quiet. Like if you put up a stink about this, nobody else is going to fundraise for it. So anyways, I was just like, know your currency, people. If I'm not going on a freaking trip, at least make sure that I'm fundraising for something that, benefits me personally. So I could see like the collective, but I will never forget that. I used to get in trouble all the time because I used my voice in camp. And now as an adult, discovering my Enneagram type and my human design, it's just part of my DNA. It's part of who I am. But as a child, I was definitely was not praised for using my voice. But now I advocate for people, and I've put it to good use. So anyways, that was just reminding me of camp. So we go to this camp. It's with this community called Dovetail for female founders and entrepreneurs. And these are anywhere from startup to multi 6, 7-figure, 8-figure businesses. And that was the beauty of it. It's a diverse community. And the whole point is that we are there, we're sisters, right? Sisterhood, just sharing resources with each other, creating connection, all of that stuff. But it definitely brings you back to those younger self moments. And those younger self moments are like of insecurity, of like, I don't belong here. And it came up for me. It came up for my friends that I went with, people that I brought, clients that I brought, who were, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. Like, what are you up to? That's amazing. Like, everyone's just like so intrigued by what you do, because there's so much diversity in what people do, which is nice too, because it's not just one industry. I wasn't just there with speakers and authors and podcast listeners. There's software, creators, inventors, all of the things, like physical products, like just so many cool freaking people. And, I just kept hearing women in general say, I didn't know if I belonged here. And it wasn't because they didn't think they would be accepted. It was legit because they didn't think they were qualified to be in the room, because they didn't identify as a business owner, or they didn't identify as being quote unquote successful enough, or, who's in the room? Like, do I have a voice? Does my voice matter? And it was funny because, when you first get there, the first day, everyone's all, like not scared, but just insecure and just guarded and curious. And then usually when you do like the closing ceremony in any experience or conference or anything you go to, retreat, everyone's like, oh my God, this is the biggest takeaway. This is the biggest aha moment I've had. I'm so grateful I came, and, tears and all of that. And I always find it fascinating because I experience this too, where I will resist something. So when I'm physically going somewhere, I'm like, I don't want to go anymore. Oh, I feel sick. My kids need me. I'm so busy. Like, all my shit comes up. And I've learned over time that, like, not to listen to that part of myself and to say, is this something that I actually want to do? Like, there have been trips that I've canceled because I'm like, I don't want to go at all. Like, there's not even a bone in my body that wants to go. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go. But there's a part of me that's like, am I going to regret not going? And if I even have 1% of regret, then I will still go most of the time, sometimes. So it's really understanding yourself and not allowing resistance to hold you back from saying, I deserve to be in this room. There's another story that's coming up for me around this. During COVID, I was invited to an online mixer. Okay. So this would be where somebody like reaches out to you and they're like, hey, do you want to come to this online Zoom meeting? It's going to be on Thursday night at 7 p.m. And these are the types of people that I've invited. Do you want to come? And they do personal outreach. Okay. So somebody personally, actually, no, that's a lie. It was a group text, like, who wants to come? Okay. So I wasn't personally invited. And these are people that I wanted to be in the room with. Oh my God. So I physically got sick before the call. And then I reached out to the person that did the invitation in the group message. And I said, hey, I'm going to be in town. I didn't get the login details. Just curious if the call is still happening. And the person replied, yes, I didn't invite you personally because you said you were going to be out of town or something like that. So I was like, oh, so she didn't really want me there. That was the story I told myself. And then I pushed through and I was like, Heather, you're telling yourself a story. You're literally pushing yourself out of a room that you want to be in, but you don't think you deserve to be in because these people are quote unquote further along than you. And I showed up on Zoom. I was in like, a hat, like a beanie or a toque, depending on if you're Canadian or not, a sweater. Like I looked like shit. I wasn't all fancy. Some of these people were fancy, just depending on where they were, what they were doing. And the person who did the inviting started talking about like wine or something or champagne. And people in the room were like, yeah, thanks for that bottle of champagne. And I realized that this person invited or sent a gift to everybody and didn't send me a gift. And again, I could feel my physical body, like I just got beet red. It actually makes me want to cry now. And I just was like, you don't belong here. You are not wanted in this room. You are not good enough to be here. You were never invited. You were only invited by default because you were in the group text. And I remember that feeling, and I wanted to just log off of Zoom. And I didn't. I stayed. And I was like, I had to force myself, like mentally coach myself to be like, you belong here. You deserve to be in this room. And so I know what it feels like to feel like I don't belong. I know what it feels like to discount myself and to say, I'm not wanted here. And I've also done that many, many times in other aspects of my life, like that negative, whatever you want to call it, primal brain or lizard brain of like, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be here. I'm not qualified. Some people call it imposter syndrome. And it truly all depends on the day, my hormone levels, but that shit never goes away. Some people think I just exude confidence and I love attention because they're like, you make it look so easy. But I'm like, you don't understand. Like, it's not that I don't want to do this. I desire to make an impact. But the art of actually showing up is so emotionally uncomfortable for me. And that's why I talk a lot about managing your energy and not your time, because I show up from a place of service. I know that my presence is of value to other people, and by me chronically showing up. So going back to this camp experience, the first time I went to one of these dovetail events, I had a lot of resistance, and I had a very similar physical response like I did on that Zoom experience I just talked about. I don't belong here. Nobody likes me, blah, blah, blah. But it was interesting because I've gone to 3 other events since then. I've created deep connections and relationships with people. And I didn't feel like that at this camp. I was like, yeah, I belong here. I did a quick keynote speech. I did a workshop. So I was very involved, got to meet a lot of people. My book was gifted to everybody. And so everyone knew my name because they saw me speak in some capacity. And again, I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm awesome. I don't think, what I teach is my expertise. Like I've mastered it, but I pay a lot of attention to it. So it comes very easy to me. So I'm like, this is no big deal, right? Everyone knows this stuff. But listening to people's conversations is where the magic happens. But as I arrived, I didn't have any physical response of like, I don't belong here. I was very neutral. I wasn't scared to go into this group of people because it was familiar. So this is the whole freaking point of today's episode. I was familiar with the people. I was familiar with the atmosphere. I was familiar with the community that I was going into. And as human beings, we just want comfort. That's actually all we want. We want familiar, we want security, we want safety, which is why people hang on to relationships and jobs and negative habits for so long, because it's comfortable. And every time I try to change a habit or behavior, resistance comes up. And it's just, I don't need to dig into why am I hanging on to it. I just need to change my behavior. So it was comfortable to me. So I didn't have that. And I watched and observed how the new people felt very uncomfortable and not involved, right? Like not like included, or not included. Their shit came up even bigger, but that's what it did to me for the first time I attended one of these events. And I thought, wow, think about how many rooms we don't think we belong in and how many opportunities we miss because we tell ourselves that we're not good enough. And that's all I wanted to share today. I just wanted to share that it doesn't matter how much I root for you and I say, you belong. You belong here. At some point, you have to feel like you belong. At some point, you have to think that and feel that you are worthy of being in that room, of taking up space. And you don't even have to feel worthy of it, but you have to have the courage to say, I'm still incredibly uncomfortable and scared, but I'm going to do it anyways. So I wanted to share with you Athletic Greens. So Athletic Greens has been a sponsor of the podcast for a few months now, and you may have heard me talk about them previously. And here's the thing. I will not advertise anything, regardless if I'm getting paid for it or not, if I don't use it myself and love the product. And what I love about Athletic Greens, so you can go check out athleticgreens.com/EU for emotionally uncomfortable. And I'll say that URL again, but it's a green powder. It's like a green juice. And they have travel packs. They have like a bigger container where you can scoop it out. But I love the travel pack, especially when I'm traveling and just rip it off, put it in a water bottle. But here's the interesting part about like, what does Athletic Greens have to do with today's topic? It's a micro habit, right? It's something that you do that takes 5 minutes or less, that the act of physically drinking this juice, it becomes a part of my identity and it becomes a part of my routine. That I am the type of person that invests in my health. And I think there's such a correlation. Like you can buy the supplements, you can buy the green fucking juices, you can buy the gym memberships, the yoga memberships, you can listen to the books, or podcasts, whatever. But if you are not invested in the opportunities for growth, whether it's in your health or your career, nothing changes. And so that is why I partnered with Athletic Greens, because my life is full, it's busy, and whether it's me or my kids, I have noticed a significant improvement in our health by creating this daily habit. So all I do is I'm making the boys smoothies in the morning. I take a scoop, I put it in the smoothie. It is full of a ridiculous amounts of nutrients. You can check them out at Athletic Greens, ATHLETIC. So Athletic, ATHLETIC Greens, GREENS.com/EU. And to make it easy, when you go to my specific link, they're going to give you a free 1-year supply of the immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So all you have to do is go to that website, athleticgreens.com/EU. And then take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutrition insurance. But yeah, here's my point. I know that was a long-winded quote unquote ad for Athletic Greens, but my point is how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you keep opting out of rooms and opportunities and you keep saying, I don't deserve to be at this table, or I don't deserve to invest in my health, or I don't deserve to invest in my relationship, or I don't deserve to, or I deserve to be treated like shit, right? Nothing's going to change unless you change. So my challenge for you today is to take one tiny baby action step towards a room that you don't think you belong in, or a table that you don't think you belong in, because the magical shit that happens on the other side is where the frickin' magic happens. So all the things, I want to know what you took away from today's topic specifically. Let me know. Go find me on Instagram at Heather Chauvin, Chauvin. Send me a DM. I'm a real human and I love having genuine conversations with people. And I'm the one that answers the DMs on Instagram. So go send me a message there. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. And get yourself some athletic greens in your smoothies. Make magic happen. athleticgreens.com/EU. Are you ready to take back control of your time and energy? But the thought of where to start feels overwhelming. I created something for you. It's called the Energy Finder Quiz. Yep. This quiz takes less than 2 minutes and it helps you identify where to focus so you can conquer your dreams without feeling like you're failing as a mother. After coaching hundreds of women, helping them reverse engineer how they want to feel in their personal and professional lives, I started to notice 4 hidden skills that women must master in order to create the work-life balance that they crave. So head on over to Heather Chauvin, Chauvin.com/life quiz. heatherchauvin.com/life, LIFE quiz, QUIZ, and get started. I even give you specific podcast episodes to listen to based on your Energy Finder quiz results. The goal is to show you where to focus so you can regain your time and energy and become the woman you deeply know you are capable of becoming. heatherchauvin.com/life quiz.
Hi everyone. I wanted to just hop on and tell you guys about my experience coaching with Heather. So I've been with her for, I don't even know, a couple months. It feels like it's probably only been 4 months, I'm guessing. But I have had such a great experience and I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. The biggest game changer for me has definitely been what she calls energetic time management, and she's taught me, and why it's so important, and what I've learned a ton from her on is, I was able to set goals and come up with them quickly and easily and effortlessly. And the biggest thing that I was looking to manifest was more time and energy to write a book. And so I have completely done that. I don't even know where that time and energy has come from, honestly, because I have the same life, same kids, job, all the responsibilities at home and everything, but somehow I have manifested this time and energy to write every day. And so it's just been a game changer for me, the energetic time management. The other thing that I love about Heather is just the way her program is structured. So it's quick and easy. I've had a lot of coaches, therapists, done a lot of like 1-hour sessions, and I love how these are quick and laser focused, and she's very talented at getting right to the issue, at the heart of the matter, what you need to hear right then. And I think she has a really strong intuition and can tell me what to do and what my next step should be. And then I just take that and it just feels so easy, and she's amazing. So the other thing I just wanted to mention, because it was a big deal for me, is the money stuff. So when I first talked to Heather, and even when I first sort of came across her online and stuff, I knew in my gut that I had to work with her. And even when I talked to her about the money stuff, I still felt in my gut that I wanted to work with her, but I had a huge resistance thing around the money. So I just wanted to say to anyone who's having that same issue, my money stuff came up just right away, just right then, and she was able to coach me through it just in that moment before I'd even hired her. So it's your stuff. Like your stuff just comes up. I don't know what it's about, but now I haven't thought twice about the money. The money is like worth every penny. I mean, I don't even know what my issue was exactly. Probably fear. I mean, it's probably a resistance, fear. Do I really want to invest this amount of money in myself? And I guess what I have to say to you is if you're having those questions, yes, you do. It's totally worth it. And I just can't say enough good things. So I'm so glad that I did.